Either one of those? Oh, yeah, station board. That's why the station board is my respected elders, brothers, sisters, Muslims, believers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina wa sayyiati a'malina. Man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu ma yudlil fala hadiya lahu. Wa nashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala قال في القرآن الكريم يا أيها الذين آمنوا واتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق من زوجها وبثها منهم رجالا كثيرا والنساء واتقوا الله الذي تصلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا واتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم وما يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. That is, all praises are due to Allah. We seek refuge with Allah from the evil of our own souls and from our own bad deeds. Whomsoever Allah Ta'ala guides will never be led astray, and whomsoever Allah leaves to go astray, no one can guide aright. I openly bear witness and testify that there is no God worthy of worship except Allah, and that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the seal of the Anbiya, he is the seal of the Rasuls. And we ask Allah Azza wa Jal for his choicest blessings forever to be upon our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah Ta'ala goes on to say in the Quran, O you who believe, fear Allah as he should be feared. And be thankful to him and remember him, and die not accepting the state of Islam. Allah Ta'ala goes on to say, O mankind, be dutiful to your Lord who created you from a single person, and from him he created his mate, and from them both he scattered many, many women. So fear Allah, wattaqullah, through whom you demand your mutual rights, and do not cut off relations of the wombs. For surely Allah is the ever watching over you. O you who believe, keep your duty to Allah and fear him, and always speak a word to the right. He will direct you to your good righteous deeds and will forgive you your sins. And whosoever obeys Allah and the Holy Last Messenger ﷺ has achieved the highest achievement in this life. And may Allah Ta'ala allow it to be a shifa for us in the next. We ask Allah Ta'ala to forgive us all our shortcomings and our sins and have mercy on our souls in this life and in the hereafter. We ask Allah Ta'ala to keep us in the company of those who seek His love and His protection and His mercy and His forgiveness. We ask Allah Ta'ala to keep us in the company of those who constantly remind us of Allah and the love of the Holy Last Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. May Allah Ta'ala never leave us unprotected in this world. May Allah Ta'ala never allow us to go astray in this world. May Allah Ta'ala never condemn us in this world for our shortcomings and our deeds. May Allah Ta'ala fulfill our covenant, help us to fulfill our covenant in supporting us and going forth and propagating the sunnah of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear beloved Muslims, Ikhwan, brothers and sisters, and my respected elders, we are thankful to Allah Ta'ala for allowing us to experience another day of Yawm Jumah when death was so close to us this morning. We thank Allah Ta'ala for raising us up to make the Fajr Salah. For all of the mercies and barakah that Allah Ta'ala gives us as abds or people that are trying to become truly slaves of Allah Ta'ala, we can never thank Allah Ta'ala enough. We can never say shukr Allah enough. And all of the little things that may be going on in our lives, it is nothing compared to what the Holy Last Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had to go through in order to establish his deen. I ask Allah Ta'ala to strengthen us all with tawfiq, to give us the fortitude and the prosperity to equal the challenges at hand. And may Allah Ta'ala never leave us alone in this world. You know, sometimes our families, for us as men, and I'm quite sure as women too, our greatest test in this life is our families, our wives, our husbands, our children. And sometimes things happen that we have no control over. Well, most things happen that we have no control over, except for those things that our own hands put forth. We thank, and before I go any further, I want to thank everybody that supported us in the fundraiser, those who visited the masjid from other places. May Allah Ta'ala reward you. May Allah Ta'ala answer your du'as. And may Allah Ta'ala expand of your risk anything that you have given in the path of Allah Ta'ala for the masjid, inshallah Ta'ala. But we have tests in our lives. Allah Ta'ala constantly reminds us in the Quran that Muslims will endure many trials throughout their lives. Allah tests us with hardship and also prosperity in order to validate our sincerity to faith. Our sincerity to faith. You know, a lot of times when things happen, we question these things. We question, why me? Why us? Why did this? How did I get myself into this? And a lot of times, if we are looking at the bigger picture, everything for us, let me rephrase that. Everything for us, if we have an Islamic perspective of our lives, will fall in the covenant of Islam to either secure, testify for us or against us of our sincerity to the deen. In other words, how do you fortify yourself? How do you fortify yourself within the auspices of Allah Ta'ala, under the eyes of Allah Ta'ala? Yes, for the most part, most of us make our 5 prayers a day. We bust some sunnahs. We may give a little sadaqah now and then on that we're stingy. So, we do these things. And sometimes we have the audacity to think that this is enough to fortify our belief of La ilaha illallah, Muhammadan Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And it doesn't even come close. Because Allah Ta'ala asks us in the Quran, do you think or do you feel or do you contemplate that you can profess that you have faith in Allah, that you believe in Allah and not be tested, as those who was tested before you? So this is something that we should expect. We should expect different trials, different tribulations, different hardships in our lives. Unfortunately or fortunately, not two people think alike. So what may be a test or a trial for you may be something that I look at from the outset and say, wow, that's easy. You know, why can't you figure that out? And vice versa for me. You may see me in something and you say, well, Dad, really, man, you got that. What's up? In all cases, trials can be good for the believer, for the true, sincere believer. If he is tested with prosperity, he should remain grateful, and he will receive a reward. If he's tested with hardship, he should still be grateful and be patient, and he will receive a reward for that. Now, the rhetorical question to that is, how many of us are grateful for the test that we have? How many of us are actually thanking Allah for the test that we have? You know, when we get into certain things or certain things happen to us, it is hard for us to say, Shukr Allah, at that particular time when the hardship is coming or when the hardship is on us. But Allah Ta'ala reaffirms the heart of the believer in the Quran when he says that the one who believes in Allah in the last day, he shouldn't fear. He shouldn't fear. He or she shouldn't fear. My brothers, young brothers in the back, I'm going to ask all the brothers to move up. Inshallah ta'ala. This past week, we had our fundraiser, alhamdulillah. And again, we thank everybody that gave. One of the things that it showed me, and especially after some of the things that have happened this week, it is more important. It is extremely important. We are almost in an emergency state of mind and belief that the masjid has to be established. And we're not just talking about having a building that we call a masjid, or in this case, Masjid Ibrahim. We are talking about a place that will become home for us. In other words, when you go home, you leave here, you go shopping, whatever, you go back home, you have a sense of security and safety. That's how the masjid should be, and we would want it to be for us every day. That when we come into the masjid, that is a place of comfort and ease for us, but also with that ease, it ignites something within us to go forth in the path of Allah. And that within itself has become a colloquial or a slogan, that we are going forth in the path of Allah, or we are doing it for the sake of Allah. It becomes a slogan because that is part of our test. That is a trial. Because every time that either one of us, and I'm talking to myself first, that either one of us say, yes, I'm going forth in the sake of Allah, or I'm doing this for the sake of Allah, you really have to question yourself. What was the first thought, the very first thought that came to your mind, and why you decided to pick up that task? With everything that's happening in the world right now, and especially locally, we have around us, within us, and in front of us, people that have attributes of jealousy, envy, disregard for the masjid, for Allah, and the Holy Last Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And on top of that, we are trying to, how can I say, rub up on each other, be in company with each other, so we can be reminded of our duties to Allah and the rights that the Prophet ﷺ have over us. But when you have hidden agendas, then you yourself or the individuals themselves then testify to their own trials and tribulations. Because it is impossible for kufr and iman to exist in the same place at the same time. In other words, it's impossible for a person to worry and pray at the same time. You cannot go to your salat in a worried state of mind. You cannot go to your salat with a mind that is filled with turmoil. Because that speaks to how you're going to give yourself to Allah Ta'ala. That speaks to how you're going to present yourself to Allah Ta'ala in your salat. Doesn't Allah Ta'ala tells us in the Quran to come to Him wholeheartedly? So when exactly, another rhetorical question, when exactly do we do that? When do our spirituality, when do our intellect of our so-called spirituality get the spark that says, okay, what's such a do? I'm going to submit. Wondrous is the affair of the believer, for there is good for him in every matter, and this is not the case with anyone except the believer. If he is happy, then he thanks Allah, and thus there is good for him. If he is harmed, then he shows patience, and thus there is good for him. If Allah intends good for someone, then He afflicts him with trials. Subhanallah bihamdih. If you cannot see, dear beloved Muslims, my respected elders, brothers and sisters, if we cannot see that the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is being inflicted with trials